Hello, folks. This is Who Did You Boycott today. I'm starting my second recording. I'm getting ready to go to sleep for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to get back up and see how I feel. But I intend to be dedicated to exposing these hand-picked stool pigeons that are running around here telling their people to go vote for this corrupt government and this voting process, when the only thing they should be saying out their mouth 24 hours a day is that if you don't deliver 4 or 5 demands, then you can roll the dice and pray to God that enough folks come out and vote. And you ones who are campaigning for these parties, these politicians, whether you are campaigning for the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independent, the Green Party, and everybody in between, if you are not sending them a clear message that they have before June, no later than August, to deliver 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 demands. If they don't deliver those demands by those deadlines, they can roll the dice. And each one of you brain dead persons who are campaigning for them can roll the dice too and get on your knees and pray to God that enough folks come out to vote. I don't think they are. I'm willing to bet my life on it that enough grandmothers and grandfathers are not going to go to that voting booth and pass this and inherit this onto their grandkids. They're just not going to do it because they probably feel like I do, that we as elders, we have 50 years of data to reflect on where we went wrong. We got 50 years. We're not like you folks who are in your 20s and 30s and 40s. You still need to gather that data. But us elders, we got 50 years of data that is a constant reminder on our conscience. What we did not understand when we was 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, we understand now. We clearly understand that because the good Lord kept us here long enough to make that evaluation. And I just don't believe grandmothers and grandfathers are going to walk into that booth and pass this harm down to their grandkids. I don't believe that with a clear conscience, that they are going to do that. So Mr. Disruptor and Mark Carter and any of you folks, it's Damon Jones, a.k.a. Clarence Thomas, Black Chicago for Trump, Mr. Cummins, and whoever that other person name, I just cannot seem to remember, Coffee, you folks are going to receive your just due for manipulating your community. Each and every one of you are going to receive your just due for manipulating your community the way you are doing it. When you clearly have the intelligence and the reach of an audience to clearly ask your community to send one clear message to your enemy and your opposition, that if they don't deliver 2, 3, 4, or 5, at least 2 demands before the election, you have already talked to your community and they are on the same page with each other, that they want you to roll the dice. And you just hold your breath on election night results. Just hold your breath and pray to God that you don't kill over. I'm voting for the kill over. I want you to hold your breath and just kill over. I don't need to stutter on that one. Or you can roll the dice and pray to God that enough folks came out to vote. You got a few options there. But if you got a brain in your head and you can summon up a come to Jesus moment, you would drop to your knees and pay that debt that's owed to the Negro ancestors and their descendants. The same way you sat down and signed the executive order for the Asians, the Latinos and Mexicans, the LGBTQ, and the Native Americans, in the same way you passed a bill for the Ukraine, the Palestinians, and Israel, and everybody in between, it's the same way you sit back down with that pen in your hand and sign that executive order for the Negroes to receive their justice. If that doesn't happen, I got my trust in my Heavenly Father that each and every one of you are going to get your just reward. That is who I'm putting my faith in. I'm not putting my faith in no Trump, no Republican, no Democrat, no Independent, no Green Party, no nothing but my Heavenly Father and my own common sense. That is where I'm putting my faith in. That is who I will put my faith in until the day I die. You folks are having a good old time misleading your community and lying to them flat-faced. But you will, before you leave this world, you are going to receive your just due. We all get that just due while we're here. None of us escape it. Each and every one of us experience that just due over and over during our lifetime. We don't know if it's going to be the next hour, the next day, or next week, or next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but it's coming. As sure as our name is on our birth certificate, that just due is coming at your door. It's going to knock at your door. You may not want to answer it, but it's going to keep right on knocking until it smacks you smack dab in the face. So you folks, stay tuned, because I'm going to keep you on blast. I intend to open this broadcast regularly. I'm not going nowhere unless the good Lord takes me off this earth, and unless my health goes bad, I'm going to make it a point to do these broadcasts regularly, and pray to God that these broadcasts reach the masses and they can make their own critical thinking, their own logical thinking, and think for themselves, because they know their well-being better than anyone else. They don't need to listen to you, Mr. Disruptor, Mr. Mark Carter, Lady Black Chicago for Trump, and whoever you got out there in Chicago who has a organization called Niggers for Trump, all of you too. And Mr. Cummings, Damon, a.k.a., who is pretending to be a reverend, a preacher. But see, Damon Jones, newsflash, those of us who have read the Bible have already been warned about you folks who come in sheep clothing. Did you read that in the Bible? You talked about Bible study. You had to have read that part in the Bible. Damon Jones, Clarence Thomas. It's so ironic that you have the same name as Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, because you both cut from the same cloth. Both of you are cut from the same cloth. It's not by accident that you end up with the same name. That was a way for God to warn us about both of you. That was God's way of warning us about both of you with that name, Clarence Thomas. Just so you know. You don't know what's going to trip you up, what you're going to say or do, or something about your character that sent up that red flag. It can be as simple as a name. As simple as a name. That could be the red flag that sink you. And you didn't even see it coming. You didn't even see it coming. You just thought you was going to have smooth sailing. Just completely smooth sailing all the way to the finish line with whatever your ill intentions were. But you had no way of knowing what God had in store for you to trip you up. You had no way of knowing what God had in store for you to trip you up. So stay tuned, folks. We have to send a message to our enemy and our opposition that the Negroes need Special Field Order 15. If they will not deliver Special Field Order 15, then they need to deliver land grants of 40 acres and a mule before the election, along with IRS cash payments before the election. Those are two simple demands. Very simple demands. So they shouldn't have a problem delivering them if they really want you to come out and vote. If they really want you to come out and vote, then they should deliver those two demands. Because the Negroes are in a dire state, and we don't have time to play this corrupt game with these crooked people. And anyone that's telling you that has not sat down and did their own critical evaluation to understand that Negroes don't have time to play this corrupt game any longer. Negroes have played this corrupt game of voting and politics for over 50 years. Over 50 years, Negroes' bloodline has played this corrupt game of politics and voting with these evil people. That's long enough. That's long enough. So every penny and nickel and dime that we can put to save up to buy land, to invest in the Negro and melanated communities, business, infrastructure, to build trade schools, to build schools for our kids from kindergarten to 12th grade, and to invest in Negroes' businesses. That should be our focus. That's where our money should be going. Not for no protests on April the 15th. Not for no protests in Chicago on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. No, that is not where our money should be going. That is not where the Negro money should be going. Now, if all these other folks who feel too offended to go by Negro, they choose to want to go by these other terms, or all these other melanated persons, if they want to go over that cliff, then wave goodbye to them on their way down. But the Negroes need to summon the courage to stand on what their ancestors fought and died for so that they could have a better life. That is what the Negro bloodline need to do, because that is what's inside of each one of us. Our ancestors passed that down to each one of us. And for these folks who keep running around here, changing up these terms as they're speaking, God hear you every time you do it. In one breath, you're a Negro. In the next few minutes, you're a BLACK American. In the next breath, you are a Negro freeman. In the next few breaths, you are African American. In the next few breaths, you are FBA. In the next few breaths, you are B1. In the next few breaths, you are ADOS. Those are not God's people. Those other words that I just said out my mouth are not God's people. The only people who are God's people are Negroes. So you folks have not just only removed yourself from this landmass and placed yourself on the African continent. God hear you every time you say those other words out your mouth. You are claiming your identity. And don't think that God is going to let you back in. Don't think that God is going to let you back in. That you're going to have the ability to wake up and decide, I want to be a Negro now. No, God is listening to every one of us. And God has heard every time you have chosen to use these other terms after you have been told the correct facts. Now, what happened before you were told those correct facts, God is not going to hold that against you. But God is certainly going to hold it against you that you are choosing to identify with these other terms. And it's nowhere in the Bible that describes any of these other terms that they are God's people. The only persons who are described in the Bible that are God's people are the Negro ancestors and their descendants. That's clearly spelled out in the Bible. So for any of you who have been rebellious against reading the Bible, I would advise you to go read it because there's a lot of truth in there. It's a lot of lies. But there's a whole lot of truth in there too. That's why they hid it in there. That's why the evildoers hid it in the Bible because they figured you would never pick it up. They figured the Negroes would never pick the Bible up, so it was safely hidden away. Oh, they miscalculated. They miscalculated. Yes, they did. They miscalculated. And each of you folks who are too good to identify as a Negro, God got your just reward waiting on you too. God has your just reward waiting on you. You folks who felt that Negro was outdated, Negro was offensive, God has your just reward waiting on you. Yes, he does. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't know what else I can tell you. But that's the whole cold reality. Yes, it is. So I hope folks can let that marinate. That's what you need to do. You need to have a sit down with yourself and let it marinate. I hope you'll come to a better understanding for your well-being. No one can make that decision for you but yourself. You know what's best for your well-being better than anyone else. So take whatever amount of time you need to come to that conclusion. What is best for your well-being? For your well-being, for your day-to-day life. That's your personal choice to make. And you can listen to these brain-dead persons who are telling you to commit suicide and go over the cliff. Or you can think for yourself. You can think for yourself and come to your own conclusion. But one thing you can't avoid is that you do not have Bank of America type of money. You do not have JP Morgan type of money. You do not have Chase Bank type of money. You do not have Wells Fargo type of money. And if you know you do not have that kind of money, then you can come to your own conclusion that your vote does not count. It simply does not count, because the banks and the corporations own these politicians. And there's nothing I can do about it or you can do about it. It's just accepting that reality and that fact. And then sitting back and evaluating what can you do to improve your financial security and your mental and physical stability and protection around yourself each and every day, because that's just a hostile environment that I was born into. I didn't have a vote. I didn't get a vote. I was born into that hostile environment. So I've spent the 61 years of my life trying to figure out how to navigate it. So I'm gonna get back to playing this, putting this 9-minute and 20-second video clip that has no volume. It's just gonna play over and over until I wake back up. I don't know when that's gonna be. It could be in the next 2 hours. It could be in the next 4 hours. I don't sleep very well anymore. So whenever I get up again, I'll go back live again and start maybe coming on the microphone. But right now I'm getting ready to start this video clip. It don't have any audio to it, and it will play until I wake back up, because my body has to get some sleep. I've been up for over 24 hours. Yes, Lord. And so I'm going to take a little rest, and then I'm going to get back up and get back at it. Yes, Lord. Here we go.